Can I please have everyone stand as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome to the 2011 State of the City. Out of courtesy to your neighbors in the Center Theater, please turn off or silence your cell phones and please make a note of the location of the nearest exit. That was the First Antioch Church of Long Beach Young Adult Choir, and at this time we'd like you to please welcome them. At this time, please welcome from the Long Beach Police Department the chaplain, Rabbi Joseph Newman, who will deliver the invocation.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we stand before you in prayer. We stand before you with vivid memories of the events of just a few days ago. An inhumane and senseless act of violence in which innocent victims were murdered and many others wounded in the course of conducting the democratic process of our great country. And for that, a fine congresswoman is fighting for her life. This evening, all the victims are in our prayers and in our thoughts. We ask of you, O God, to comfort the bereaved and hasten recovery to the wounded. Help us to understand that even in difficult times, that peace and civility must prevail, and hatred, prejudice, and violence in any form has no place in our society. As we begin this new year, we ask of you to bestow your blessings upon the mayor of our city, Mayor Foster, the honorable members of the City Council, and all civil servants of our great city of Long Beach. We beseech you, merciful God, to extend your grace and protection to each and every member of this honorable body, and especially on those individuals that put their lives in the line, our heroes in law enforcement and our firefighters, and bestow upon them the joy of life, good health, and prosperity. Bless the distinguished individuals who have been chosen to make laws and often hard decisions for the citizens of our city. Grant these public servants wisdom, understanding, and knowledge in their noble pursuit of governing with justice and equality. Let us recognize that we must unite in harmony in a peaceful process of government, even if we are not always in agreement. For in these challenging times, tough decisions need to be made for the common good, and we must remember that we are all beneficiaries of a democratic process in government. Oh, give our officials guidance so that they will strive to enact laws with honesty and integrity in accordance with the universal Noahide principles of building a just, moral, and ethical society. Bestow upon our leaders the wisdom to turn adversity into opportunity and to transform the hard challenges we face today into the seeds from which will sprout the growth of tomorrow. May our city serve as a beacon of light for people of all faiths and walks of life. May our city of Long Beach help achieve the goal so powerfully stated in our Pledge of Allegiance, for America to truly be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I conclude with a blessing that in our tradition is repeated daily and often. May the one who makes peace on high bring peace upon us and upon all of humanity. And let us say together, amen. Amen.
Now can everybody stand? And please welcome Mayor Bob Foster. Whoa, whoa.
Thank you. What a great choir. Good evening. All at once now. Good evening. Yeah, all right. Thank you, students. I want to thank you to Rabbi Joseph Newman for the invocation and the Antioch Baptist Church Young Adult Choir for a wonderful introduction. That was pretty cool, actually, or way cool, as they say today. A special welcome to the members of the Long Beach City Council, City Attorney Robert Shannon, City Auditor Laura Dowd, City Prosecutor Doug Halbert, and the fine city management team under the leadership of City Manager Pat West. In addition, I also thank you. I want to thank them all for coming through a very difficult year and working together and producing a great deal of benefit for the city of Long Beach. So I want to thank all of those people. And also a welcome, I think I saw former Governor Duke Nugent and former Mayor Beverly O'Neill. A welcome to them as well. I want to thank as well the staff of the Long Beach Convention Center and the International City Theater for letting me totally mess up their production schedule. They've been very gracious about that. And I want to thank Becky Ames and my staff for not only all the hard work they do, but with putting up with me for the last week and a half. It's been a difficult, trying week and a half. And a special welcome to my wife and your First Lady, Nancy Foster. I have no idea where you are, but I know you're out there. Oh, okay. Her efforts to ease the burden of mental illness are an inspiration to us all. Welcome to my many friends and all the residents who are here tonight. You know, history tells us that democracies are fragile. In modern society, it is far too easy to check out as a citizen and slip into thinking that the business of participation is better left to someone else. Our engagement and active, healthy disagreements are required to make us thrive. Whether we're watching here in the Center Theater or at home via the webcast, thank you for engaging in your community and your city. In Saturday's horrific incident in Arizona, we saw a graphic and breathtaking example of the fragility of our democracy. The bright and young, accomplished and engaged, were murdered or gravely injured while taking part in our democratic process. It is a heartbreaking human toll that this country will measure for years to come. Here in Long Beach, we tragically lost one of our own city family this past year in the untimely passing of Dave Wadinsky, a young man of boundless potential who left an indelible mark on all those who knew and worked with him. Please keep these families in your thoughts and prayers, and let us remember them now with a brief moment of silence. Thank you all. Despite the cynicism and distrust that permeates modern political discourse, I believe public service remains a noble calling. I believe that each of us can, in fact, make things better. In July, you honored me with a second term as your mayor. In doing so, you have again placed a great trust in me. I remain humbled by your support you have given me, and you've given me the job of building a brighter future. I can think of neither a more important nor greater responsibility. Thank you for your trust and confidence, and I pledge that I will do my best to never let you down. It is hard to believe that tonight marks the 5th speech I will deliver on the state of our city. I got to tell you, I picked a great time to be mayor. Slip into my Brooklynese there for a moment. It has been an exhausting and exhilarating ride. And as I reflect on the past 5 years, I believe much has been accomplished under what might be described as less than ideal conditions. Despite the dire predictions, crime levels are at historic lows. Our finances, while under pressure, remain well managed. We have dramatically reduced air pollution from our port. Our streets, sidewalks, and storm systems have been upgraded. We have expanded an already vibrant parks and recreation system. And improved one of our most stubborn quality of life challenges, our beach water quality, for the 3rd year in a row. There is now a general optimism where there was once discouragement. The good news is that the national economy appears to have bottomed out. The stock market has recovered more than 50% of its losses. Employment, while far from robust, seems headed in a positive direction. Home prices are stabilizing, although certainly far from recovered. Much rebuilding needs to be done, but the foundation is now laid for a new and robust economy. The economy of the past was marked by excess and unprincipled risk, perhaps best illustrated in the words of the Oracle of Springfield, Homer Simpson, who said, "Son, if you really want something in life, you have to work for it. Now be quiet, they're about to announce the lottery numbers." This new economy will have different characteristics. People will save more. We will view our homes differently, less a cash cow and more a needed place to live. All of us will have to constantly learn additional skills to keep our jobs. Our young people will work for many employers during their life or be self-employed. The economy will be more grounded in today with far less bet on the come. And I believe it will have more promise for our future. We should all feel some pride in navigating the past few years. We have not only endured the difficult times, but we have done so by lending a helping hand to those who need it and kept focus on essential services government provides. The future will still challenge us and pose obstacles to our success, but we are now better able to meet those challenges. We are again a much safer city. Crime is at a level not seen in decades. Our murder rate is the lowest it's been since 1971, and gang-related murders are down 53.8% from last year. Homicide is down 24%. Overall, violent crime is down by 13%. Response times are among the best in the nation, even as call volumes increased. Now, our police department has cleared a record 90% of its homicide cases. On Friday, applause for that. On Friday, the police department closed 3 more outstanding cases from earlier this decade with the arrest of a suspect utilizing modern DNA matching technology. All of this has been accomplished with fewer people and very tight budgets. Our men and women in the Long Beach Police Department deserve our appreciation, and Chief McDonald and his team deserve our admiration for a job well done under very difficult conditions. Now, please join me. Thank you. I can't clap because it makes the people watching go nuts. Sometimes that's good. Our fire department handled over 59,000 calls for service. Their response to emergency situations is second to none. Here, too, service has been maintained with fewer positions and tight budgets. Chief Padalano, the command staff, and the frontline firefighters of the Long Beach Fire Department save lives and preserve property. And please join me in a round of applause for their excellent service. 2010 saw many improvements to our city. Now, you all know I believe infrastructure is really important to the future of our city, as it sets the very foundation for growth and a robust economy. This year, we were able to repair 19.3 miles of streets, 14.6 miles of sidewalks were replaced, our storm drain system was enhanced by installing debris traps at pumping stations, improving our coastal water quality. At the helm of the public works ship, we all owe a tremendous thanks to Mike Conway and his great team. New developments have taken root all over the city. A brand new Vons supermarket in downtown, a new Marshall's department store in Bixby Knolls, a new anchor retail outlet filled vacant spaces in Los Altos, and we will soon have a new fire station at the top of the town. 3 very large construction projects moved forward this past year. Funding was secured for the Gerald Desmond Bridge replacement. This $1 billion project generates 4,000 construction jobs and enhance the competitive future of the Port of Long Beach, making it not only more efficient, but also assuring safer traffic flows for vessels, commercial vehicles, and commuters. There is no more important project for the competitive future of our port. And I want to draw special attention to the efforts of Senator Alan Lowenthal and Assemblywoman Bonnie Lowenthal that helped move this project forward. I also want to thank the port and their staff for their diligent efforts here. They've done a great job. The Long Beach Airport diversified its air service offerings and achieved the lowest average cost per ticket in California and the second lowest in the nation. Yeah, surprise. Huh? More importantly, we broke ground on a new terminal. The project will modestly increase the size of the terminal, consistent with the requirements of our noise ordinance. The enhancements will provide more comfort and convenience and modern concessions for dining and shopping. In the near future, passengers will be able to grab a sandwich before their flight without fear of actually eating it. I know I'm going to hear about that later on. Got to have a sense of humor. Come on, folks. You've all been there, right? That's why it was funny. While the process was lengthy and at times contentious, this modern facility was worth waiting for. Please join me in a round of applause for Mario Rodriguez and the airport department staff on a job very well done. Long Beach will soon be home to a new state-of-the-art Superior Courthouse. Hopefully named after someone we know. In its new location on the northwest corner of Magnolia and Broadway. This project is being built under a complex, first-of-its-kind financial arrangement between the city's redevelopment agency, the state, and private developers. A land swap with the city's redevelopment agency made this project possible. In return, the existing courthouse location reverts to the city and will become a landmark development along Ocean Boulevard. 2010 also saw the completion of Phase 1 of the Colorado Lagoon Restoration Project. And new parks all over the city were completed. From Rosie the Riveter Park to the Silverado Park skate spot, we have more places to enjoy nature and recreate. And 2010, we also saw as a historic year for the Las Cerritas wetlands. Long Beach facilitated the acquisition of 34 acres of lands, and just last week, 100 additional acres in Seal Beach was brought into the public realm. For the first time in more than a century, the public owns 200 acres of the Las Cerritas wetlands. Now, efforts to restore this natural jewel will get underway in 2011 as we begin the visioning for creating one of the largest restored wetlands in Southern California. Water quality projects were also enhanced in 2010. In a landmark agreement with the Army Corps of Engineers, we initiated the second phase of the East San Pedro Bay Eco Restoration Study. This important effort will seek ways to improve water quality along our beaches and extend its examination up the LA River. And speaking of the LA River, we secured the support of the 27 upstream cities for a $41 million plan to outfit storm drains along the Los Angeles and San Gabriel rivers with treatment traps. Once funding is secured, this will significantly improve water quality in the rivers and on our beaches. Meanwhile, work is already underway to install trash traps in 16 upstream cities that flow into the LA River, essentially making these cities 100% trash compliant by the end of this year. It's a good year for our beaches and water quality. We took advantage of the available federal stimulus dollars and spent them wisely. We used as much of the $120 million under the stimulus package as possible to improve our infrastructure, and you see the results all over town. Federal training dollars were also well spent, linking job training to real jobs at the port or other major construction projects in town. These major projects have a strong goal for local hires, providing not only jobs for our young people, but careers. And I want to thank Brian Rogers and the whole crew at the Pacific Resource Investment Center and the Workforce Investment Board for their hard work and their success in finding jobs for over 2,000 Long Beach area previously unemployed people. Congratulations. Now, this was also a year in which the city's achievements were recognized by others. We again received the award for being one of the top 10 green fleets in America. EPA awarded our port with the region's 2010 Environmental Achievement Award for its Clean Air Technology program. And Bicycle Magazine ranked Long Beach in the top 25 bike-friendly cities in America. Now, our resolve to manage our finances well was also evident in 2010. We not only bridged the $23 million budget gap, but we did so while maintaining a $9 million budget stabilization fund or a reserve, and this has helped us maintain our AA- bond rating and has won praise from the financial community for our prudent financial management. Thanks again to our budget and finance staff for the great job they do under very difficult conditions. So what does this all mean for our city? As you can see, we have much of which to be proud. There are, however, still big issues we need to deal with. We have accomplished a great deal together, and there appear to be fewer obstacles to a bright future than just 2 years ago. We are all no doubt relieved to see the dark days of 2008 and 2009 behind us. But we need to learn from that hard experience. For those of us engaged in public policy, we need to be honest in a review of the past 3 years. we have learned some lessons that we will need for the future. First, government was too big. While few in government want to admit it, we were all just a bit too complacent in the past. Today, we perform needed services with far fewer resources. Since 2004, we have closed a $180 million deficit combined. We have reduced the number of public employees and now have a budget that is smaller in nominal dollars than it was in 2009. There is little doubt that some desired services have been curtailed, but the city's essential services continue successfully even with fewer resources. The second lesson, to kick the can down the road is a prescription for serious problems. There is a natural tendency for policymaking bodies, and even in human nature, to put off decisions until they have to be made. Often delay, foot-dragging, temporary patches are used in the hope that conditions will change or that a problem will be suspended long enough to become someone else's issue. I would argue that much of the state budgeting over the past 2 decades falls in this category. But putting off a decision or to delay handling a serious problem never bears sound results. And finally, if there is one thing I've learned in my professional life, it's that a problem should be dealt with directly and swiftly. Waiting only reduces your options for resolution and often exacerbates the problem itself. We should learn the lessons that public policy needs to be grounded in reality and needs to be implemented for its stated purpose. We should not, as has been done, adopt one policy to make up for the difficulties in implementing another. The cost consequences of this policy will largely fall on future generations, so that the costs and benefits are never squared up in the same time frame. Last year, I indicated an immediate threat to our future was the potential for the state to take funds from local government. A combination of sound legislative action and the passage of Proposition 22 have reduced this threat. But alas, we aren't finished yet. Yesterday's budget announcement has some encouraging provisions to rein in state spending, just like every city or county in California has done for the past several years. But under a vague outline for something called realignment, the governor indicated plans to eliminate local redevelopment agencies as part of a proposal to return many functions now performed by the state to local government. Upon initial review, Long Beach will lose out annually on millions of dollars that are reinvested into areas of the city with the most entrenched poverty and crime. The proposal takes away a vital tool for lifting our urban core, and to what end? The funds don't go towards eliminating the state's deficit, but instead are shifted to pay another bill the state can't otherwise afford. One thing is clear, at-risk communities across California lose out, and the winners will be happy only for a while. Now, policymakers may find comfort and indeed support in satisfying the desires of interest groups in the present, but they sacrifice our future. As George Bernard Shaw said, the government with the policy to rob Peter to pay Paul can be assured of the support of Paul. We will all need to watch this issue closely, since it promises to be a significant part of the budget reform in Sacramento and could put local resources at risk. As we all know, the devil is indeed in the details. Now, while we continue to manage our budgets well, we have shortfalls for the foreseeable future. In my budget message this year, I indicated that these deficits are being driven primarily by increased pension costs. The increases are the result of massive losses by the Public Employees Retirement System, or PERS, and the increased benefits given to employees in 2001. Now, pension costs will rise to nearly 40% of our public safety budgets, 45% by 2014, which means for every dollar of salary we pay in the public safety area, we will have to put aside another 45 cents for pension obligations, and growing. The city's total unfunded pension liability is now over $1.2 billion and rising. Indeed, the added payments recently required by PERS do not even keep pace with our growing liability. It's very similar to a mortgage with negative amortization. The principal keeps increasing every year. These costs are the sword of Damocles hanging over our city. We simply cannot afford them. If we do not reform our pension system, the costs will outstrip our capacity to provide essential services. Police, fire, and all quality of life services will be reduced. Contracting with other agencies, such as the county, may be necessary to provide basic services. And that's just the situation we're in. This year, I proposed a thoughtful, relatively painless way to help solve our city's pension problem. Since employees pay little of their pension costs and are held harmless for the CalPERS Fund's investment losses, I suggested that contracted raises be applied to the employee's share of pension costs. Over the next several years, the employee's contribution would increase until their full and fair share was reached. Employees would not see the raise in their check, but their pay would not decline, and they would gradually get to a point where they were paying their fair share. In addition, I proposed that new employees would have new pension rules. For public safety, the retirement age would move to 55 from 50, and the formula would change from 3% per year of service to 2%. For all other employees, the retirement age would move from 55 to 60, and the formula would change from 2.5% to 2%. These are reasonable changes that are consistent with a modern workforce, and they are actuarially sound. Importantly, these changes would have saved money now and reduced future budget deficits. Without these changes, the cumulative deficit for fiscal years 12 to 14 will be approximately $59 million. With the changes, the deficit would be cut more than half to $28 million. At these reduced levels, we could still provide our essential services, including public safety. Now, I propose these changes in the spirit of shared sacrifice and with the hope that our employee groups would look beyond their immediate self-interest to a larger, more sustainable and stable future. I was to be disappointed. While I applaud the 4 employee organizations, including our city's management group, which agreed to the changes, the 3 largest groups, police, fire, and the machinists, took their raises and rejected the reforms. Now, I know it's difficult to explain to any organization or anybody, for that matter, that sacrifice needs to be made, and no one wants to be first. But the future of public pensions is so clear. They simply cannot be sustained. Now, you will hear this. Claims will be made that, again, that we are putting life and property at risk by calling for reductions in all areas. The truth is, that's simply not so. It is the unreasonable rejection of reform and the ingrained entitlement mentality that puts our city at risk. Now, earlier in this speech, I indicated there were lessons that we should learn from the past 3 years, and we need to put those lessons to use here. We cannot allow government to grow to pay for unreasonable and unsustainable pensions. At this time in the economic recovery, we should not encumber businesses or individuals with a greater tax burden. We cannot kick the can down the road. To leave an even larger burden for our children and grandchildren would be immoral. They have no benefit in this program, but they will bear all the painful costs. We should and must attack this problem now. We have more options for resolution, and the pain will be far less now than in the future. We created this problem, and we need to solve it. Now, we will continue to engage in collective bargaining to bring these changes about. I know they must be made, and I'm determined to see them through. That is my responsibility to all of you. My job is to help protect your future and your children's future, and solve today's problems today. Unfortunately, I'm not optimistic for a meaningful outcome. Therefore, if I'm unsuccessful in bargaining for these changes, I will propose a ballot initiative that will constrain future mayors and councils from providing any more in pension benefits than those outlined above. These restrictions, if passed, will go into effect when the current contracts with our unions end. I'm hopeful we can negotiate before this happens, but as I said, I'm not optimistic. There is too much at stake to ignore this problem or to pass it on to those who had no hand in its creation. Our future demands that we stabilize our finances and put our house in order. If we can achieve stability, we have a great future ahead of us in Long Beach. Just last week, 28 Long Beach small businesses graduated in the first cohort of what will become a national program by Goldman Sachs to educate, train, and foster growth opportunities for 10,000 small business owners. I was very honored to be asked to speak at the graduation. I had the opportunity to meet these leaders and their families, some of whom, like Fred Joring of Golden State Transportation, that I've had the opportunity to get to know over the past 5 years. These businesses are emblematic of our city, our diversity, our creativity, and our desire to achieve. Fred and his wife, Jerry, are out there in the audience tonight. If you can just stand up if you're there. I can't see you. Fred and Jerry. If you get a chance on your way out, tell them thank you for what they do for the Long Beach economy, for using clean trucks, and for those 7 new hires just recently initiated. Later that same day, I spent some time talking with a thoughtful observer of California and the world who recently suggested that our nation's biggest challenge may lie in how we address the void created by our society's diminished ambitions. It struck me quite clearly that neither Fred nor the 27 other small business owners completing that program have a void in their ambitions. In fact, I remarked in my speech that morning that they represent not only the best of our city, but of our country. It was one of those moments when you feel a reinforced confidence in our future. And we have weathered a great storm and have been tested and tempered by hard times. We have a great place to live right on the Pacific Ocean. We have a vibrant and growing creative class whose energy will propel us into a new and robust economy. We have become a destination for travel from all over the country. We have a people willing to help one another and work cooperatively towards a better future. We have great public schools and ready access to institutions of higher learning. We have a great climate and the means to generate economic growth. I love this city. I love its people, and I admire its spirit. I'm proud to lead Long Beach. I passionately accept the responsibility you've given me. In working together, we will have a bright future, and we will fulfill those ambitions. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you all for being here.